Here recently, I've seen this disgusting post about the death of Charlie Kirk, where people have either shared or posted this same quote verbatim, where it says, "Let's make one thing clear from the start. Charlie Kirk was the victim of a pewing in a country where he, along with other right wing extremist influencers, have been inciting violence for years. Kirk is neither a martyr nor a hero, he is a cause." Now, let me be clear, I didn't always agree with everything Charlie Kirk said, but that doesn't change the fact that he was the victim of violence, and framing it this way downplays the seriousness of what happened. At first glance, it sounds like sympathy, but let's take a closer look at how it's actually framed. Think about the wording here. That the statement admits that he was a victim, but in the same breath it says, but remember, he's an extremist. He's been inciting violence, so don't see him as a hero. That kind of framing changes the way people read the event. Instead of thinking, wow, this is tragic, someone was pewed, it reframes it as, that's what he gets. He brought it on himself. That's not sympathy. That's not compassion. That's a callous shrug. And whether the author realizes or not, it sends a subtle message that this act of violence is somehow less wrong or even excusable because of who the victim was. Or even worse, it condones it. And that leads to a bigger problem. This kind of rhetoric is incredibly dangerous because it normalizes political violence. If we start excusing or rationalizing pewings depending on whether we like or dislike the victim, we're opening the door to more of it. And the truth is, political violence is always wrong, no matter who the target is. There's no such thing as a justified pewing in democracy. Once we start deciding who deserves it, we're already abandoning the principle of equal justice and human dignity. For example, imagine if a progressive or left-wing figure was pewed and a conservative voice posted something like, well, yes, they were a victim, but hey, they've been stirring up division for years, so don't see them as a martyr. Would people accept that? Of course not. There would be outrage, and rightfully so, because we all know deep down that trying to justify or explain away violence against someone we disagree with is morally wrong. But that standard has to cut both ways. Otherwise, it's not a principle, it's just partisanship. So the bottom line, Charlie Kirk being pewed is not a cause. It's not a political talking point. It's not something to minimize or rationalize. It's an act of violence against another human being. We don't have to agree with someone's politics to stand firmly against that, because once society starts deciding who deserves violence based on ideology, we're all in danger. If we excuse violence against our opponents today, what's to stop it from being used against us tomorrow? Violence against political opponents should never ever be rationalized or sympathized with.